What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Caleb's Kung Fu Cinema. Obviously, I am Caleb, and I am back with a brand new movie review for you guys today. I did mean to get this out a little bit sooner, but as you guys could probably tell from the opening, things have been crazy. I fortunately lost a dear friend of mine. It was very sudden, very tragic, and it sucks. But he was still my good friend, and there are a lot of really great memories that I'm going to hang on to for a really long time. So to my friend Ian, I love you, brother. Rest in peace. So. With that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump into the movie review. So yeah, today I'm going to be reviewing a movie that is really, actually pretty special for me. I remember watching this movie a lot when I was a kid. I remember I had the VHS on replay constantly. I probably broke that VHS considering how many times I had watched it. But yeah, it's actually really exciting for me that I get to talk about this movie today. I had meant to talk about it on my podcast, but as you guys know, and for those who don't, I did retire the podcast, Caleb's Kung Fu Cinema, which, by the way, click the link in the description and you guys can listen to that podcast. It is still available for everyone to hear. But yeah, I had meant to talk about that on my podcast at some point, but I never really got the opportunity. But today, I'm going to rectify that and make a video about it. So yeah, what movie am I talking about? Well, I am talking about Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. And finally time. And I know this may be kind of a a bit of a I guess a tense subject for some people, and in a way it kind of is for me too. But we'll just go ahead and jump into it. So Dragon, the Bruce Lee story was a film released in 1993, and stars Jason Scott Lee as Bruce Lee. No relation, of course, but yeah. So this is it was not the first Bruce Lee biopic, although it was probably the first one with the biggest budget, because this movie was a really big deal whenever it came out and stuff like that. And strangely enough, the idea with this movie, it was actually Rob Cohen who had directed this movie. He actually has said a good few times that he kind of approached this movie not so much as a Bruce Lee biopic, but as like another one of Bruce Lee's movies. And in a way, I can understand like where he's coming from, like wanting to take it in a bit of a different direction and not be such a conventional biopic that a lot of them turn out to be. But at the same time, I also kind of wish, that this movie, like, while I do respect the approach that they wanted to take, I do kind of wish that they had done something that was maybe a little more accurate and stuff like that, because a thing that a lot of biopics these days have problems with is not exploring all aspects of the subject person's life, or the person, or the event, whatever it is. They don't always explore everything there, and a lot of things can tend to be glossed over, and that is kind of a thing with this movie. But before we get into those things, I will talk about the things that I do like. For starters, like I said, this movie, or like I said earlier, this movie was a really big hit, and it did really well at the box office. Critics and audiences, as far as I know, they were all pretty satisfied with it for the most part. Jason Scott Lee does a excellent job in this movie. You can see he trained really hard. His performance is top notch, and he was definitely a really good choice as far as like casting Bruce Lee. When I know they had also approached Bruce's son Brandon about playing the role of his father in this movie, and as we know, Brandon did turn the offer down to do his own thing, and of course he tragically passed away shortly before this movie was released, after his unfortunate accident on the set of The Crow. But back to what I was really trying to say here is that the movie, again, it was a really big deal, and overall, I think it is a pretty good movie. Not to mention, there was even a video game adaptation of this movie released for the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis. There might have been other consoles that it was released for, but those are the only two that I can currently remember. But I've actually been playing the game myself quite a bit lately. But back to the movie itself. yeah, they're with the things that I do like. So I do love Jason Scott Lee as Bruce Lee. He does a really great job. You can see he trained very hard. His performance is very emotional and very intense, very charismatic. And and then on the other hand, we also have Lauren Holly, who played Bruce's wife Linda in the movie. She is also really good in this movie, and their scenes together, Lauren and Jason, like their scenes together are really good. Their chemistry is on point. You really buy that these two are a couple. And one of the really big things with this movie was that they wanted to portray Bruce as as romantic. They really wanted to focus on the relationship between Bruce and Linda because at this time, at the time the movie was made, I mean, having a romantic Asian lead was a bit of a rarity at this time, to put it mildly. So that was a really strong focus on here, was the relationship between Bruce and Linda. There are a lot of really great scenes with them, but what I'm going to try to do here is just kind of talk about what I like, but then also kind of put together what I don't like about certain things, because there's a lot I have to say about this movie, and I hope I don't drag the video out too long. But yeah, as great as the scenes with Jason Scott Lee and Lauren Holly are, there are some moments where they kind of make it seem like Bruce never would have done anything if it wasn't for Linda. And I obviously don't know the ins and outs of their relationship and what it was like and all that, but the movie does kind of make it seem here and there that that Linda is kind of Bruce's rock and his inspiration, and she's the one who kind of convinces him to do all these different things and everything else that happens in the movie. That I don't really kind of like, because I do want, again, I wanted them to kind of explore all aspects of Bruce's life. Bruce Lee himself was a very charismatic person, and also, very, very lively and energetic and stuff like that. And I do kind of like, I would have liked to see, him kind of make his own decisions and stuff like that, and not just kind of being portrayed as someone who just won't do something unless someone else inspires him to do it. Because there are moments where he is basically considering giving up until he's convinced not to do so. And yeah, I just don't really I don't think that works very well. But the and then another thing that I kind of noticed, this isn't necessarily this is more of just kind of like an observation. I am not trying to put down any of the performances of the actors or anything. I think Jason Scott Lee did an excellent job in this movie, but there are some scenes, especially there's a few scenes where Bruce and Linda have arguments, and Jason Scott Lee, in these scenes, whenever he gets angry, he gets really angry and really hams it up a little bit. And there were in those moments, I felt his performance might have been, just in those little moments, I feel like his performance might have been a little too goofy. I think he might have dialed it up just a little too much. But again, I'm not trying to put him down or anything like that. He still did an incredible job. But that aside, we can talk about some other things that I really did enjoy with this one. I think the fight scenes are really good. The choreography is really solid. But again, kind of another thing that they were doing with this movie is that they wanted to make the fights a little more intense and a little more dramatic, and so it kind of goes against the style that Bruce Lee was known for, being really quick and really quick and having fights be a little bit shorter. Here they're a little more intricate and stuff like that. And while that does kind of go against, while it doesn't go against Bruce Lee's kind of style of fighting that he had, I still like how they do the fight scenes. The choreography is really good. Again, Jason Scott Lee, incredible in these fight scenes. He worked really hard, as you can see. I know I've been saying that a lot and being repetitive, and I apologize for that, but it is true. He actually really does shine in the fight scenes just as much as he does in the dramatic scenes. But yeah, like I said, I mean, another criticism you could have about the fight scene in this movie is that it just kind of goes against Bruce's philosophy and stuff like that. But then we kind of get into like the biggest things about this movie, which is the demon. So throughout the movie, there are scenes where Bruce is haunted by a demon, and this whole thing was I believe this whole thing was kind of done to like to kind of show that death is coming for Bruce and stuff like that, because many people believe that Bruce's family was cursed and stuff like that, and so that plays a part in this, with the demon constantly chasing after Bruce, and and it's like, ooh, Bruce, death is coming for you, and and that stuff. While I do think those moments are intense, I remember as a kid seeing this movie and seeing the scenes with the demon, I remember being kind of scared, because I was a little kid, and this demon is huge, and he's got this armor on and the scary just blank mask and stuff like that. I think as far as like intensity and stuff like that goes, those scenes do work. But on the other hand, it is also kind of strange how he just keeps popping up to kind of remind everybody that Bruce is gonna pass at some point, and so that kind of thing is a little cringe, even though on the other hand, I do think it still kind of works. And as I mentioned at the beginning of this, again, they did not explore all aspects of Bruce's life. A lot of things in this movie are glossed over. They do talk about Bruce, Bruce's life in Hong Kong, like before he came to America. Although a lot of stuff is cut out, namely Bruce's mother, his siblings, because he did have brothers and sisters, and it just cuts over. There's like very brief moments of him in Hong Kong, like training with Iman as a kid, and getting into fights when he's a little bit older, and then jumps over to when he's living in the States, working in restaurants, and going to school, and then trying to break into the film industry and dealing with racism and stuff like that. While I think these scenes are done pretty well, they just gloss over a lot of stuff. There were a lot of things that I feel that they should have thrown into the mix with this, and then another glaring issue. Like one of the most notable things that they, as far as like in terms of like glossing over things in Bruce's life, one of the most notable things was the back injury and the fight with Wong Jack-man, who in this film is called Johnny Sun. So here they condensed those two things, like the fight and Bruce's back injury, which everybody at this point knows that Bruce's back injury was done by lifting weights. It was not done. It did not happen in a fight with Wong Jack-man. But again, Rob Cohen, the director of this movie, he said that he wanted it to be more dramatic and like be a big movie moment and stuff like that, which I understand that, and it actually does work, even if it didn't actually happen that way. It does work as far as like making a dramatic moment and stuff like that. So I do like how they did it, even if it's not historically accurate. As you guys can probably tell, my my feelings of this movie are pretty mixed. There's a lot of things about the movie that I love, but there's also a lot of things that really kind of eat at me, and it's kind of a strange feeling. Like anytime I watch this movie, it's a strange feeling, but at the same time, I still just try to put that stuff aside and just enjoy the movie for what it is. And personally, I do think it is a fun 90s martial arts movie. So if you're looking for a movie that is not, or if you're looking for a movie that is historically accurate for Bruce Lee, this is not going to be it. But if you do want to see a movie that is just, again, a piece of 90s martial arts action, this movie could be the movie for you. So at the end of the day, I do still recommend this movie as a Bruce Lee fan, and then just as a fan of martial arts movies, I do recommend it. Definitely check the movie out. It's still a lot of fun, one way or the other, despite my very mixed feelings, as you can tell from this video. I think I've rambled quite a bit, and I've rambled long enough for you guys. So yeah, that's it for this one. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this movie. I know there's a lot of really big Bruce Lee fans out there, especially here in the martial arts cinema circle. I mean, martial arts films would not be what they are if it was not for Bruce Lee. Bruce was the best to ever do it, without a doubt. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think of this movie. Let me know what your favorite Bruce Lee movie is. My favorite is Fist of Fury. So yeah, that was kind of another thing that bothered me. I wish they I wish they had like kind of touched on Fist of Fury a little bit here, because they didn't really do that here. They show Big Boss, and then they show him doing Enter the Dragon, and they show Green Hornet, but they didn't show Fist of Fury or Way of the Dragon. There is a brief mention of Game of Death, but that was pretty much it. But yeah, anyway, that's the end of that one. Thank you guys. Don't forget to click the link tree in the description, follow me on social media, listen to the podcast, and all that good stuff. Again, let me know what you think of this movie, and let me know if you guys liked the video. I hope my rambling was not too annoying for you guys. But yeah, I appreciate it as always. I'm gonna have another movie review coming out for you guys really soon. Once again, it's gonna be on a really special movie, one of my all-time favorites. So yeah, keep an eye open for that. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.